on this program do not necessarily represent the positions of WMBS Radio.
Don't stop thinking about tomorrow. Don't stop, it'll soon be here. It'll be better than before. Yesterday's gone, yesterday's gone.
Well, thank you, TJ. Welcome to Democratic Hour. I looked to my left, and the one and only Doc must be down in Florida, and went to the right is the one and only Rich Ringer. Rich,
Good to be here again.
Show. Good to be here, right?
Yep.
TJ, my understanding, we have a little trouble in paradise.
What's that?
I was supposed to go to the big concert the other night, and somehow
You were.
I was, but I think somebody cut in on me again, and
Who was it?
I believe it was you.
It was me.
I'm gonna tell you what. I'm so.
I was at the concert, Bruce Springsteen with Justin.
I'm going to tell you what, this is going to let everybody know. I know this is a political show. We're going to air this. This may be the last time. Come on, Justin. You can't do that to me every time you're in town.
Wait a second here.
Oh, yeah.
There he is.
Oh, there he is. Makes me feel a little better. I heard the concert was good, T.
It was.
I know I've seen some of them snapshots you sent.
He paid for everything, too.
I know, I was jealous, trust me. I know he performed. That's the one and only Justin Timberlake.
You guys going down to the big wedding tomorrow?
I have to see what's on my schedule. Maybe.
You didn't get an invite?
We don't want to get him too upset with too many things. I'll tell you next Friday.
Well, Rich, you know, with the cat's out of, as they say, is the cat's out of the house or cat's out of the door? Well, tell everybody this so-called big wedding.
Donald Trump Jr. getting married tomorrow in the Bahamas. And guess who may not go?
Let me guess. His father?
The father.
Well, I guess he can't go to the ballroom because it's not built.
Yeah.
How about Mar-a-Lago? He's not invited to Mar-a-Lago?
He said he has a problem of not going to the wedding because he has other big things on his mind, like Iran. But it never stops him every weekend to go out golfing.
I know when we're, 80-some days into the war, right?
Yep.
He has money for war, but not the poor. So Donald's not going to go his son's wedding. Well, I think it's his third marriage, so I guess he figures he'll need to travel. Won't last long anyway, right?
I don't know. He'll go to Barron's.
Well, we're going to see how this works. And again, it's the Democratic Hour on WMBS. Our telephone number, 724-438-4593. Rich, a lot of things happened since last week, and one of them we could report. And thanks to you, I've been doing this the third year. Last Sunday, we went, Rich and I, with the Catholic War Vets. They went to 3 cemeteries. We finished one at Mount Macrina.
Mount Macrina.
After that, we went to the Catholic War Vets with Teddy's group, and American Legion
Paul
has,
Pelia.
and Paul's group, a proper way to dispose of American flags.
Nice little ceremony.
And I want to thank WMBS because they streamed it. So I think it's probably still on WMBS. You could go back. They interviewed some of the individuals who were putting the flags on the graves. Yeah. And of course, you know, Rich and I have shared this before. You know, you look down here, you see somebody served in World War I or who got killed in World War I. And then you look at World War II. Mm-hmm. Then you see some veterans of Korean War and maybe 1 or 2 Vietnam veterans because we lost over, or was 50 here in the county. And then some young men and women were there with the Catholic War Vets and American Legion. And it did my heart good to do. And I want to thank you, Rich. You got me involved in it 3 years ago. And thank the good groups like the Catholic War Vets and American Legion who go out and put these flags on every year, getting close to Memorial Day. And speaking of Memorial Day, it will be Monday. And for those who don't know, and I have some notes here, and I want to make sure I was right, in 1971, it became a federal holiday. It used to be it was on May 30th, regardless what day May 30th fell on. So it's the last Monday in May. So that's Memorial Day. And it's not Veterans Day for those who unfortunately lost their life in all the wars. So Memorial Days all gave some and some gave all by unfortunately losing their life. And of course, Election Day, Rich, I think my prediction was a little better than yours. We don't have the total vote count. It was in the mid-20s.
It's still low.
It's still low, you know, and the sign behind us, I think it says it all. If you don't vote, don't complain.
Yeah.
I and Joe visited 41 voting precincts Tuesday. And I've been doing this over a course of 8 years being the chairman of the Democratic Party. Now, of course, I didn't hit all 60-some precincts, but I did hit 41. I personally went to each voting precinct and thanked the individuals who put at least a 13-hour day. I thanked them for what they do. And I told them overworked and underpaid. And somebody has to do it, and they truly enjoy doing it. It's a long day, but I hit 41 precincts. I've seen very little candidates at any polling precincts, besides the governor's race, the lieutenant governor's race, congressional race. We had both parties had committeemen and committee women in the various precincts here in the county running. We had a legislator in the 51st, 52nd. In the Senate race here. So if anybody wants to look up the results, all you got to do, and I have it in front of me, it's Fayette County Bureau of Elections. You could go to their website. There's quite a few write-ins. There's a couple possibilities. Somebody could be on the ballot, including me. We're going to have a better idea here. So there is some write-ins, especially in the 51st, there was 381 people wrote somebody's name in, so we're going to have a better idea next week.
Yeah.
And the total I do not have. It's not listed at the county's Bureau of Election website, and I know I'm looking way as I scroll down here. Rich, if you want to make some comments, you go right
I'm
ahead.
just surprised that can't get the total right
Yeah,
now.
right now. So right now, Josh Shapiro had led the ticket here in with 8,206 Democrats voted since we have a closed primary.
Right.
So
Had to be Democrat.
Democrat. So Republican can't vote for a D, and the D can't vote for a Republican. No
And-
other party affiliation
And
could
the
vote
independents are out. They
Yeah.
can't vote at all.
till November. So that's what happened. We'll have a better idea because they got to go to the provisionals, and then they'll go all the write-ins. There's quite a few write-ins when you do all 67, if we have 67 precincts. But again, I want to thank those individuals who worked those polling precincts. And like I said, if you don't vote, don't complain. Other than that, that was about the only thing. There was a little incident. I don't know, maybe I shouldn't even bring it up, but I'm going to. I'm going to not mention names. There's something that happened at polling precinct where I was. I guess somebody was making some comments about me, why they left the Democratic Party to go to Republican. And so we had somebody had a confrontation, and of course, this individual stuck up for me. Well, I realized who it was, and I'm not going to mention the person's name. I should, but I'm not. And I made it perfectly clear when I left that voting precinct. I told this individual, if you post something other than what I said, you're an outright liar. And you could ask these four individuals working in that polling precinct. I came in, introduced myself as chairman of Fayette County Democratic Party. This will be the last time I'll be visiting this precinct because my term ends here in June. And I'm not going to be running for chair of the Democratic Party.
Right.
And I thanked them personally for what they do, and I repeated overworked, underpaid, trying to get them a pay raise. And that's all I said. I never brought up about anything to do with voting. Was there any issues? No. Thank you, George. It was very kind that you did that, and that's all I said. And I looked at the gentleman who was saying some things about me who was outside when he came back in. And I said, I want you to post something because if you do, it's an outright lie. This is exactly what I said, and I said it in the other 40 polling precincts I went to. So that was it.
Has there been a posting anywhere?
I never looked it up. And if you want, he might be checking on what I'm saying, and I really don't care. So that's what election day. And again, folks, we need to get people out, and that's look at what's going on the national alerts. I have to tell you, they took a break. The Republicans didn't want to bring some crucial votes up here in Washington, and this so-called $1.8 billion for possibility Donald Trump. Those who were at the insurrection first day in office,
Be compensated.
yeah, they're going to be compensated. And I think that's all going to go down here when they come back from their so-called Memorial Day,
Yeah, in early June.
early June.
Well, it's not, excuse me, it's not 1.8 billion, it's 1.776 billion.
Billion.
Going after 1776, of course, the founding of the country. It's
And of course, there's a War Powers Act, and again, here we are. I think it close to 90 days here in what our goal was. It's over. It's in. The Straits of Hormuz is closed, open. They're going to put a fee on. No, they're not going to put a fee on. We wiped them out earlier in the year. They have no means to enrich uranium for nuclear facility. Now they do. Now they don't. I mean, it's a ding dong school with this.
yeah. I mean, what can you believe?
We know what happened on January 6th 5 years ago, right?
Yeah, but it's
Like it didn't happen, and we're going to compensate those individuals. People got to remember who got killed, and and we're at a party didn't back. They accused of us not backing the blue,
yeah.
but they didn't have a problem beating up on them police officers that
Yeah,
day.
yeah.
And us as tax holders, think about this, folks. All the benefits they've cut in veterans, Medicare, Medicaid, possibility, the other programs we got. And he's going to find money for these different facilities he wants to build.
And then he's going to find money for himself because
Right.
he's not going to. He doesn't want his taxes reviewed.
Yeah, and before, I don't have a problem. Well, everybody knows when he come up, he paid $700 in
$750
in federal income tax, right?
Yeah.
He had nothing to hide. It
Right.
was always under audit.
Always under, yeah.
We got a caller on the line. Let's see who we got.
We do. Good afternoon. You're on the air. Who we speaking with?
Hi, it's Marcy. How you
Hey,
doing?
Marcy, how are you, dear?
Honey, I want to tell you I am just fine after that 13 or 14-hour day I put in on Tuesday.
Oh, God bless you. And you know it. And tell them you worked at a polling precinct.
Yes, I did. I took all the training, 6 hours of classes through the month of April in preparation, and they did. I'm going to tell you what, the women at the Board of Elections are dedicated to making voting easy and pleasant and legal. And they really prepared us. I felt pretty good because we rotated through the different stations so that you knew how to do every job involved on Election Day. And it was slow at Masontown, just like everywhere else, but it was a very good feeling afterwards to be involved on that end. And the other thing I would say is that almost everybody should have to take the classes that I take, whether they ever intend to work at the polls or not, because that leaves pretty much no doubt that every ballot that goes out, at least in Fayette County, from the Board of Elections is accounted for after Election Day. You can't have somebody mail in 3,000
No.
mail-in ballots if only 200 were selected. Nobody's going to miss that or allow it. Let's put it that way. And just at the end of the day, if we had spoiled ballots, we all, everything that we got at the beginning of the day, including the locks on the machines, the zero tapes, had to be returned.
Yeah.
So our elections are very secure, and people need to stop crying about fraud because it would take people, not the paper ballots, to create the fraud.
Well, I hope it's going to be calm and dignified and everything else come November, because I have my doubts right now with President
I agree.
Trump. President
It's-
Trump
it's-
said he's going to have the troops at the polling precincts.
We want to close some of the polling precincts. Hey, Morris, I didn't realize you were going to work in that polling precinct, and you probably heard my comments.
Yes, I did. And that is exactly what you said, yes.
In Masontown, and I said the
Right.
same thing in other precincts. So I got a witness here on the other end of this phone. That's actually what I said, right?
Right, it is. But you know what? The people on the other side, I came away from Election Day not quite as angry as I usually am, but I followed the drama between the candidates for the Republican State Committee
Yes.
Facebook, and that was just delicious. Chef's kiss.
I don't
It was
know
a
if that's the
fun-
word I would use, but
Oh,
We
I'm
could
sorry.
use other, but we're not going to use it on air.
Yeah, well, because it was so juvenile. Someone demanded, "What do the county commissioners do for the veterans?" And I said, and it was Larry, who I
Yes,
won't.
you being a veteran, I being
Right.
a veteran, there are other veterans, right?
And I said to him, "What do you expect at the county level? We already have federal and state responsibilities to veterans." And I know what he was pushing at because John Marietta gave out that Fayette veteran ID card last year, and like that is something big that really changes somebody's life. Yeah, good for him. But it does, I already have ID me. I already have I have veteran status on my driver's license.
Absolutely.
and
You
it's
know, that-
universal. You could use it anywhere.
Right, exactly. And it's so. I mean, I get discounts and stuff all the time once I learned how to use that. So, but yeah, the drama. Oh my! And I watched the. I was watching the website and breaking down the votes and looking at mail-ins and stuff on various races the other night, and I know from my own experience the turnout was about equal in Masontown.
As far as
Equal
days
size,
and hours.
yes, for day of election. So I don't know that I can say anything, and I don't want to get in trouble because I had to tell you, I really enjoyed doing that.
Well, Marston, you need to do your efforts and what you experience. Other people you could convince. Listen, we need help in all 67 precincts or 68
Right.
we have now, and you can work outside your polling precinct. So if you live in Masontown, you could be a worker in McClellantown or any other.
Right. See, I would be fine with going to any of the Germans because not that I know faces there anymore, but family names I might recognize and stuff, and then we can all yak it up. But yeah, and not only that, but you do get paid. You get paid for the classes, and you get paid for the day. And no, it is not what full payment should be. And that's the thing. If we have enough poll workers to mind every station, there's no way you can commit fraud on election day. And for somebody to vote in your name on election day, they would have to know who you are, where you live, and be able to verify that information before we flip the poll pad over to you.
Yeah, and that's something they instituted a couple of years ago, the poll pads.
Right.
They
Right.
love them, the workers there now. Maybe some of the older individuals like me, I would probably be I'd be a little difficult for me to work, with a poll pad. But no, that's what's going on today, and
I'm only 5 years behind you. So,
Well,
but
and
I
that-
got forced into it when hospitals switched over to computers like 30 years ago. So, now I feel like an old hand. I used to look at all the younger nurses with I retired 15 years ago. So, it's been a while.
Marsh, getting back what you said, and you personally lived through that experience here this past Tuesday. But of course, when the current president, when he lost it's fraud, it's fraud. Well, we went through it with John Marietta here in the county. So,
Right. I pointed that out to him on Facebook, too.
yeah, where's the fraud, John? You went to court, they threw it out. And that's the perception around the country, fraud. Nobody stole the election. You lost. I lost, I conceded. Rich lost, he conceded. I accepted it, I didn't win.
Right. Well, that's going to be their new boogeyman.
If I knew how to
they're
cheat,
already
Rich would
starting
be in
on the
office,
fraud.
or me.
Well, I just wonder why President Trump still thinks he lost the previous, in 20.
Well, isn't it not the most pathetic thing you have ever seen when grown men are being asked to say that Joe Biden
Yes.
won the 2020 election and they cannot
Oh,
do
you
that?
can't say it.
Oh my God, are they peeing their pants? I'm sorry. I mean, that is the most.
It's absurd.
It is. It's absurd.
Just
Ah.
just look what we talked about, with billion, what would you say, $1.776 billion,
Right.
right?
Oh, over my dead body. I'm
Right,
telling
and
you.
we as taxpayers are going to pay somebody, but I don't think it's going to go the way they think it's going to go.
Well,
Somebody's trying to overthrow the government, and what they did in Washington, D.C., even I seen yesterday on the news, I don't know if he was a congressman, I don't think he was a senator. Oh, it wasn't bad, it wasn't this. Well, why did everybody run for cover, right?
Yeah.
Right. And not only that, but he campaigned on that. He promised that he would give them reparations. But the thing that I don't think they realize that even if that money goes through, the actual J6ers who are on the ground, with the exclusion of people like Stewart from the Oath Keepers
Right.
and Enrico Torres,
was, yeah.
other than the really visible ones, the rest of them are going to get bupkis because all that money is going to go into Todd Blanche's, Don Jr.'s, Ivanka's, Don Sr., Barron's bank accounts.
I agree with
All
that.
their friends and family are going to get the first shot at that money. And the other thing is, supposedly that fund has to remain at 1A. It replenishes. It's self-replenishing.
Right.
Well, we're going to see this all pan out. Morris, we appreciate it. You have a great weekend. We're going to
Oh,
grab
I
another
am.
caller.
I'll see you.
All
Bye.
right, thank you. T, we got another caller?
We do.
Let's see who we got.
Good afternoon. You're on the air. Who we speaking to?
How you doing, Pete?
Hey, Pete, what's up? Semper Fi, brother.
Well, yeah, Simplify. Well, I just listen to your program. I just, it's kind of funny about the Republicans because when Trump wins, everything's legal, everything's fine. But if he loses, the Republicans lose, everything's fixed.
That's a
You know,
fraud,
they-
right?
Fraud, right. I wanted to tell you that Tulsi Gabbard, she just resigned.
Oh, that's right. Rich was going to bring that up. Imagine that. She pulled a pin.
Well,
Yeah, they
she said she's resigning because her husband has a rare form of bone cancer. Now,
And I hope that's, that's the
no,
case.
I'm
yeah.
sure that's
And I
that's
hope,
true. And,
wish him well if he does.
Wish him very well.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, but I just watched on MSNBC that she's been she's upset over the Iran war because she ran against, any new wars with Trump.
Yeah.
And they're saying that she was on the outs. Trump scolded her privately somewhere, and I guess that's what it's about. So
Yeah.
she knew she was on the outs.
Yeah. Well,
So huh?
she's been on the outs, not being able to attend some of those meetings.
Right, they said that too,
situation
right.
meetings.
Right, they said that too. So anyway, they really don't know who's in charge. He said he's appointing an acting person, so.
Yeah. Well, he's
you
got,
know,
it seems
it's
he's got
pretty
so many
dangerous.
acting people in the cabinet right now, and they're supposed
Well,
to
he
be
puts
time
them in it-
limits.
Right, he puts them in because they don't have to be confirmed.
Right. Yeah. Well,
Right. and
DNI
that's the way he
has to
gets
be
it around.
confirmed. DNI has to
Right,
be
right.
confirmed.
They-
Pete,
they
all we
have
got to
to be
look
confirmed.
like you said, and Rich. Look who he has in the cabinet. A lot of it's blaming. You got to blame it the senators who put these people in these positions.
Yeah.
Yeah,
know, this-
right. That's who I blame it on, the senator, right, the Congress. Yeah, they okay these people. No, and none of them was qualified.
qualified.
You know,
The
right,
president
none
has
of
the right to pick his cabinet, but you got to have qualified people. And of course, with the vendetta
where
that he
Congress
has
comes in.
against anybody that says anything about him,
Retribution.
retribution.
and
that didn't happen
and that-
January 6th. It didn't exist, right?
right.
I want to
right.
go down. They opened the doors. Nobody got hurt.
Yeah.
Look at the
Well,
damage they did, and I can't use the word what they did using the bathroom. They didn't go to the bathroom. I know what they did in the Capitol, right?
Yeah, and I sat there, I watched it. And if that wasn't an insurrection, I'd like to know what the heck is. You know,
Yes.
if that wasn't insurrection, and then they get in there, they destroyed the Capitol, $3 million.
Right.
They defecated on the floors, on desk, in front of people. I mean,
Oh,
and yet-
they were friendly. We didn't, that was only a few people. That was some of the Democrats were in there just to make everything
Yeah.
look bad, right?
Yeah.
yeah, right.
Pete, what
that's
else you
they
got on
said.
your mind?
That's all. I just listened to your program.
Well, I
That's all.
appreciate it. We appreciate
I'm
it.
out there. I'm out there campaigning, and I was a poll watcher a couple times, and I advise people that can do it. They need to get involved and be a poll watcher or help. My son worked at the polls.
Well,
need
thank
people
you,
to get
sir, for
out
what
there.
you do. We thank you, Pete.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Bye.
And that Semper Fi Marine. I met Pete and his wife down here at the Fayette County Democratic Women when they have their weekly, I don't want to call them rallies down here on. And I should have called Tracy before the show. I would think they would be down there this Saturday. And I don't want to say, it maybe,
They were Connorsville.
so they were down Monday, this past Monday, to get out to vote. We had a nice turnout. Majority of people serious. They're good. They blow the horns. Thank the ladies for what they're doing. And really, and down there last Monday, it was just plain and simple, like some of the signs. If you don't vote, don't complain. If and elections have consequences. And we could see, and again, our speaking of election, our candidate, Alan Bradstock, did quite well.
Did very well.
He has to go to his Facebook page. We're going to get highly involved in his campaign. And if anybody could tell me what the guy has done for us in the last 8 years in Washington, D.C. is beyond me. Now, I didn't get to hear the previous show, but I guess the big controversy is a possibility about possibly a data center coming here to the county. Is that the hot topic?
I didn't have an opportunity to listen either.
I know there's supposed to be a informational meeting out at Penn State.
What the third is?
I think
Second
it's
or
on a
third.
Wednesday. It
Right.
should be, I think it's
in
June
early June.
3rd, early June. And I'm going to say this, my understanding, I don't know who's actually, I don't know if it's FAPEN or the Chamber of Commerce, my understanding, because we do a show on WMBS. They didn't want WMBS.
They don't want media there.
And for the life of me, folks, why you wouldn't want, because any of these data centers, and I'm going to give you my expertise only for the fact that we have over 1,000 individuals working at Homer City. It was the old Homer City site where they had one of the largest coal-fired power plants in the country. It was demoed. There's currently a data center will be built there. They're in the process of building the HRSGs, who provide the cooling and the power, and that will be coming from the natural gas we have here in Pennsylvania. They're going to generate their own power for that particular
Operation.
plant.
Yeah.
And the access to that will go into the grid system.
If there is access, but
Right. But
still.
that's, and again, and I think because today, trust me, folks, I've been around long enough. Anything's built, somebody's for it, somebody's against it. And everybody should be informed, the pros and cons of any project. And we have a pro-labor governor. It benefits a tremendous amount of people in the apprenticeship program. And what that facility is going to peak out around 4,000 people employed there. Now, how many permanently, I don't know. But if there is a meeting and it's open, you have to go onto their website to attend. So if you're interested, but you got to do some fact checking, because you're going to hear more pros and you're going to hear the cons.
Yeah.
And especially if it's in Spring Hill Township. And I know one legislator, she's against anything ever built in that part of the county. And I say this, and I'll mention your name, Charity. You didn't even want to have a walking trail. And I hope you listen to the show. I hope you make a comment on it. Because I know anything down that part of the county didn't want anything, period.
What's annoying to me as a former journalist, you got the elected politicians, they want the media to go out and cover their ribbon cuttings
Right.
and everything else. But they don't want them at this meeting? Come on. I hope all the radio, TV stations in Pittsburgh and the surrounding area just go there and demand to be in there.
By not letting them, that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But again, folks, and again, I don't know who the representative talked to, if it's going to be a power plant or it's a future data center. For me, and this, if they got one proposed across the river in Greene County, I can't believe that you'd put one within a few miles of each other on one side of the river, one on the other side. And again, that's something that's coming up. And like I said, this is going to be rich. I don't know how long we're gonna do a Colbert maybe next week. We may be taking a little break. We may be looking at doing a different. It will be Democratic hour, but I'm no longer be the chair. We're going to pass that torch on to Tracy Wilson, and both parties have to do this, folks.
Right.
So you have to elect a chair the same year as the governor runs,
Right.
and the vice chair of the party. So that'll be happening the first week in June.
June.
You're not going to get rid of me. We got a big election coming here with the governor, lieutenant governor, or in our congressional race. And speaking of races, races, political races, Bud Cook was taken out by his own party.
Yeah.
They also wanted to take out the senator, and she won.
Yes.
But Bud Cook, I think he'd been in maybe 4 times, or maybe 5 to 10
times,
years.
I think it was.
Be 10 years, he'd be no longer representing Green in Washington County.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of dissension here in the Republican Party.
Yeah.
I know they have some here in the county, and while everybody listens to the show and reads the paper or listens to the news here on WMBS, when John had his show, so they have a splintered group representing them in Harrisburg on a state committee.
Yeah.
And people got to realize, even with Vince Victory and Trinette's Victory as a state committee,
On the Dem side.
on the Dem side, and the chairperson will be a delegate on the state for the state party when they attend the state meetings. And people got to realize they're not compensated. They got to pay their wherever it's at, transportation, hotel. If you go there for 2 days or one, because it's usually Friday and Saturday. Or if you go out there Thursday, you're going to get a hotel room Thursday, Friday. You got gas, transportation, your food.
Yep.
So it's a lot of work, and
A lot of pocket money.
a lot of pocket money to represent your party and their party. So again, our telephone number is 724-438-4593. And again, Rich, I know we mentioned the flags, and I thank you again. And of course, Memorial Day, if you have an opportunity, I think it was, when was it, just 3 o'clock today? They had a moment of silence, I want to say, and I could be wrong on that, for Memorial Day around the country. And of course, we got on air at 3:15. And like I said, all gave some and some gave all. And I just couldn't imagine you losing a loved one and get a knock on the door that your loved one is no longer with us, lost their life. And that's why when you get in these conflicts like the one we're in now, and here it is, 1 day war, right?
Well, I got a real good laugh the other day. I think it was yesterday, when President Trump was at the airport going to, I think he was going to speak the commencement address for the Coast Guard.
Up in Connecticut.
Yeah. And they were talking about, obviously some of the war. And one reporter asked a question, is like, the tit for tat was reported between President Trump and Prime Minister Netanyahu in Israel. And President Trump says, well, he'll do whatever I tell him to do. And President Trump says, he's so popular that after his term of office is done here, he's thinking about going over to Israel and run for prime minister.
Folks, this is who you voted for. That's all I can tell you. It's unreal, unreal. When we've been doing this show, this is his second term. We keep on saying this got to end. He can't come up with all these crazy things. I don't know I don't know if the man sleeps. I know he made comments last night. Jimmy or Colbert never said a word about Trump,
Right.
but he
never
made
mentioned
comments.
his name. Yeah.
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 He talked about himself, low ratings.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, he was should have been, when he made those statements.
Should have been about his own low ratings.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
I'm just looking down Tulsi Gabbard. Gabbard, I should say, about her resigning, Director of National Intelligence. Let me see what else.
I was catching the comments this afternoon before coming in. There were some comments by people in Congress and representatives and senators, even questioning whether there will be a permanent replacement in that position, arguing that, well, it may be outmoded. Well, that position was created after 9/11.
Yeah, think about that.
Yeah, it was created because there was the intelligence agencies weren't talking to one another.
Unreal.
And that's why they formed a DNI.
And there was some additional hearings. There will be some additional hearings. I think there was additional hearing on Epstein,
Yeah.
one of the victims.
Well,
was
victim
very
and,
close to
Yeah, and apparently she came out and named
3 people.
3 people.
Right now, I just can imagine who's on that committee we haven't heard who these three individuals are, but you
it'll
can
be
rest
out.
assured it'll be out.
It'll be out.
But again, our telephone number is 724-438-4593. Rich, you got anything planned for the weekend? Dancing through the raindrops, right?
Yeah, got a lot of yard work to do and that kind of stuff. But
If you need some help, my telephone number, my phone's
it's
not been working.
disconnected. Huh?
Yeah, it's disconnected.
Yeah.
You know, and the sad part, last year we went through this crazy, and then it went straight into summer. I don't know if we're going to see a summer. I know it was set some records this week, and then we're back in this crazy weather.
Yeah.
Well, let's hope after. And I want to say, what did they predict this weekend? You know, one of the largest
Travel days.
travel days, and a price of gas, right? So every time you folks are on the road, think of the current president of the United States, right?
Yeah. Well, I was up,
Gas was going down, groceries up. You can look it up. Anybody shops. Oh, we got two callers. Let's see who we got. See what we got, T.
Good afternoon. You're on the air. Who we speaking to?
Hello?
Yes, who we
Oh,
speaking with?
okay, George Willie. I haven't called for a while, but I didn't realize you're going to be departing your position here shortly.
Yeah,
Yes.
I can't take. No, I'm only kidding. Yes, I served the county for 8 years, and it's time to pass the torch.
he's not like President Trump
I'm
said he
gonna
could
be-
go for a third term.
Yeah, I'm going to be 79 years old, and it's.
Okay, yeah.
But I'm going to be
No,
heavily involved in getting our elected officials elected here in the.
So I won't talk too much politics today. I did call primarily to thank you for doing the show. I called to thank you for your service.
Well,
to your
thank you.
country,
That was
for your-
very nice.
For your service to the unions and the service to the party, but foremost the service to the country. So
Thank you.
I want to congratulate and thank you for doing that. I enjoy the show every week, and I don't call that often, but I just wanted to.
As long as you listen, we appreciate it very much.
One other thing, you never used those 3 free beer tickets I gave you.
What was the 3 tickets?
I think I gave them to you at the picnic.
And what,
I don't know, maybe you didn't get them.
what were they? Beer tickets.
Yes.
I don't, you know what? We could meet up. I
Okay, I won't say it on the air, but you got my phone number in there somewhere, and I'll be glad to meet up with you sometime.
well, it'd be an honor. How about that?
It would be an honor on my part.
I thank you, brother. I appreciate it.
Okay, and the same goes to your staff in there too. I appreciate all that they do, and so
All right.
yeah.
You have a great
So,
weekend. You got anything else before you
so
grab
you-
another call?
No, I won't list all the grievances today. I just tuned in late, but I'm sure you guys covered them pretty well.
All right. Well, I thank you, George.
All right, thank you.
You all ready? Now, I didn't pay that gentleman to say those nice things about me. See what we got. T.
Neither did I. Good afternoon. You're on the air. Who is this?
Hi, this is Sylvia.
Well, hey, sister, you ain't kind words for your brother, right?
Always.
Oh, okay. There we go.
Hey, TJ, maybe we can get Justin to call in next week.
We got to work on
Yeah.
that.
All right, sister. I know you got some things on your mind.
No, I
Well-
wanted to tell you that I don't know if you are aware. I want people to realize that with the election coming up with Josh Shapiro and Austin Davis, when people say, "Oh, what has he done for us?" or
Yep.
this or that, Spotlight PA is a great place to find out what's going on in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, they do a wonderful
So-
job.
They do, and the state of Pennsylvania had $700 million that was being held up by the federal government, by the Trump administration,
Imagine that.
to help bring broadband into this area. And it was being held up because the president didn't like the fact that Josh Shapiro is pro-labor in this area. And it had to do with, of course, the prevailing wage and with how they, and you would know more about this, how they classified the workers.
Yes.
But the federal government just dropped this nonsense, and now $700 million will be coming into the state. And they have, I think, 6 months for the companies that would be laying this fiber optic cable to present their plans, and then from there it might take up to 4 years. But finally, because Josh Shapiro held his ground and stood up to the Trump administration, the workers will be compensated properly, and $700 million will be coming
And
into the area.
if my memory serves me right, we were one of the counties didn't get a lot of money.
Right, we did not.
And
That is correct.
Because I was going to say, where was our delegation, our
I don't think they fought for us, Huck.
I know
don't
they
think
did. It
that
was a
anybody
small
fought
amount of
for us.
money compared to some of the,
Other counties around it
Yeah.
got a lot of money.
a lot of money. And, but again, sister, I appreciate you bringing
If
that
you
up.
do- and here's the whole thing. You've got all these rural counties, the people, you have to have an internet connection.
Right.
You've got to be able to, for children to learn, for people, for businesses to advance. If you do not have good internet, you're not going anywhere. And it's a shame that we have such lousy internet connections, different spots throughout the whole county, and we don't have anybody fighting for us to try to get that money in here.
Well, we
So
know,
that's why we
we went them, said I didn't go to Harrisburg to make friends, so you want to know why we don't have anything.
Exactly. Yeah, so I just wanted people to
Well,
be
we
aware
appreciate
that,
it.
and especially, like I said, to look at the journalism that goes on with that Spotlight PA.
Yeah.
It will give you the views on both ends
Right.
of this, so it is non-partial, if you want to put it that way.
And that's the way it should be.
All right, George.
All right, we
that's all I have to
appreciate it.
say.
And again,
All right.
I got George, Pete, we
Wait.
got about 3 minutes left. I don't think anybody will call, but if they do,
Do you know if
Oh.
the people, the construction or workers in D.C., are they union putting up the ballroom?
You know what? I was supposed to check into that. You know what I'm doing? I'm going to do that. I'm going to call the building trades. I'll find out this week.
I mean,
what's union, what's non-union on it. That's easy for me. I'll find out.
Yeah, because I
Yeah,
read a lot
Because
about
I know the
that.
painters union, because I know the union contractor painting that pool is
The
not a
reflecting
union.
pool.
Yeah, we could touch on that. Yeah, 1 million went up to 12 million,
13
right?
million.
13 million, no bid contract.
Yeah.
I know the pool man. I don't know the pool man, right? But he called me.
Yeah.
Well, let's grab his call here.
We got a
Rich.
call here.
Okay.
Good afternoon. You're on the air. Who we speaking to?
Yeah, this is Ken.
Okay,
George,
Ken, you're
how's
going to
it
wrap
going?
this thing up, brother. But go right ahead,
yes,
Ken.
Yes. Yeah, that $1.8 billion.
Yes.
You know, if you're a felon, a crook, or murderer, or whatever, you could be in for a payment. You know.
Yeah.
But anyway, I've just never seen. It's crazy.
Weren't you there? You and I and Rich were there that day, right?
Hey, I think so.
Yeah, we got a little piece of the pie, right? Since we're paying for the pie.
That's it. Yep. But hey, you guys have a good Memorial Day, and don't forget we are having the memorial service at Jacob's Church at 9:45 Sunday morning.
Well,
And
Ken, I may have said this to you, and forgive me for butting in. We got about 2 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Folks, Jacob, tell them exactly where it's located. It's not a hard place to find.
if you come out, if you from Uniontown on Walnut Hill Road, it's probably like 7-8 miles out, and then there is a sign on the coming from Uniontown. It's on the right hand side, and you bear right there, and it's on Jacobs or Lutheran Church Road is where it was at. If you put that in the 342,
And I'm going to
if you put that in your GPS,
You'll find it. And I've said this, I don't know if you were on the air with me when I said it. It's probably the best kept cemetery I've ever been to. I don't care when you go there. I don't know who does it or what volunteers. That place is always cut and manicured to perfection.
Yep, and it was just a matter of a few years back where we celebrated 250 years, and actually it was longer than that because they found some records that went back. It was probably more like 258 years. But anyway,
All right, Ken,
yeah, that
we
service is for anybody.
All right.
And
What time's it kick off again?
at 9:45, regular church services at 9. 9:45 is going to be the service with the honor guard, and they do an excellent job.
When you play them
they have
taps,
a
I don't
little
care who you
reading
are,
room.
as you're in the military, that old tear comes down your cheek.
Yeah.
All right, Ken, we appreciate it. Have a great
Yeah,
weekend.
Thanks, guys.
All right,
Keep
we
up
got
the good
about,
work.
2 minutes, T?
You got about a minute.
Oh, we got a minute? Well, Rich, we're going to, let's see, what we got, T, with sports. We're going to talk about it here.
There's nothing to what the Pirates. That's
Well,
it,
that-
right?
Well, coming in, my Cubbies are coming in next week.
You know, that big roll they were on, now they're on the
Yeah.
other reverse roll.
Well,
We said
both,
that.
Both teams are the same
Yeah.
way.
You
But-
going to the games?
I'm
know who
going to
gets you-
try.
You know who can get you tickets?
Pardon me?
You know who can get you tickets?
Justin.
Yeah, well, I'll work my connections. and
Yeah, call
hook
him.
you
Yeah,
up.
yeah.
Well, Rich, you and TJ can finish this show. I'm done. Include me out or cut me out of ticket.
While you're there, see if he'll call in next week.
Yeah, and again,
we'll see.
Rich, thanks for coming in. T, thanks for keeping the show
Always.
going. And everybody have a safe memorial. Put a little, in your busy schedule, just say a little prayer for those who gave their ultimate sacrifice protecting this country. And again, it's Democratic Hour. We'll be back next Friday on WMBS. Everybody have a great Memorial Day weekend.
You have been listening to the Democratic Radio Hour, heard every Friday at 3:15, right here on 590 AM, 101.1 FM, WMBS.
And this is WMBS Uniontown at 4 o'clock.
Your home for original reporting.
I'm Jennifer Kuiper. The head of U.S. intelligence is stepping down. CBS's Linda Kenyon has the latest.
Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard has resigned. In her resignation letter, she said she is extremely grateful to the president for the trust he placed in her. She added, quote, "Unfortunately, I must submit my resignation effective June 30th, 2026. My husband, Abraham, has been